Hello fellow teachers, this is Dustin Stuckey coming again with another video about Google Classroom. This is the advanced course. It's really not super duper advanced, but it's stuff that is really useful to do once you know a little bit about Google Classroom already. If you haven't already watched the basic course, then as long as you're already familiar with Google Classroom, you'll probably be just fine. But if you need to know how to create classes and assignments, I would go back and watch that video first. All right, so here we are in the classroom. I've already got this class created. You can see that there are a couple of assignments there. Let's create a quiz. So I'm going to go to classwork. I'll click create. And there are a couple of different ways to do this. Let's say I don't have a quiz at all, right? I'm starting fresh. Then I'm going to click on quiz assignment. And you can see right here, it just created this blank quiz, right? So then what I'll need to do is I'll need to click on that. And it takes me to Google Forms. And here you've just got a Google form that it automatically generated this for you just to get you started. All right, and then what you'll do is, you got to title the thing up here. And then you've got your questions down here. So the first question I usually ask is, I want my student's name. And it kind of intelligently figures out what type of response you need for some questions. So obviously a name is not going to be a multiple choice or checkbox. It would be a short answer. And that's required. I want all of my things to be required. Now, because it's a name, I'm not going to assign any points to this. And I'm going to add the next question. Next question. What is the Google Classroom URL? And see here, it automatically went to short answer. But for this one, I'm going to make it multiple choice. I had it wrong there. Classroom.google.com, or let's say all right, so obviously we've got a correct answer, we've got two wrong answers here, and you can add obviously as many possible responses as you want, but here I'm going to have a key. So I had to click on this button right here that says answer key. And I'm going to give this 1 point. You can select as many or as few points as you want. Obviously the minimum is 0. But this could weight the questions if you want to do that. For the most part, I usually just do 1 point for each question. And I'll click done here. I also want to make that required. You want to make sure that you require students to answer each one of your questions. Now, over here, we've got settings, and I always do this, collect email addresses. This way, when you're getting submissions in, not only do you have what they filled out in the name spot, you also have their email address that they logged into Classroom with. That way you can make sure that Timmy really is Timmy. You can also click this limit to 1 response. Most of the time I let students do retakes, so that's inconvenient for me. And then if you want to, you can let them edit after they submit. So if they're like, oh no, I got that wrong, I can go back and change it. That's not something I usually do for quizzes. Speaking of quizzes, if you click over here on the right-hand side where it says quizzes, you can turn on locked mode. This will be really handy for this, taking quizzes at home. What this does is it makes students not allowed to open other tabs on their Chromebook while they're taking this quiz. But it also requires them to be using a Chromebook when they take this quiz. That means if they have a home computer or their cell phone, they cannot take this quiz on those devices. They would only be able to use this quiz with their Chromebook. So make sure that you're thinking about that before you click this. Okay, and then you can do your releasing of the grades different ways. By default, it immediately sends them a report of their grade after their submission. I usually click this later button so that I can look at all of their grades before I send out a blast to all of them saying what they got on it. And then in that report that they get, you can show them the missed questions, the correct answers, the point values, or you can say, I don't want to show them the correct answers. I want them to figure that out on their own. So you can unselect that one. And I think that if you unselect all of them, all it will show them is their score. All right, and then I will click Save. And let's say that's the whole quiz. I can just close out of that. And then back here, I'm going to click that locked mode on. This grade importing, this makes things pretty simple for you because when the students respond, their grades will show up on the left-hand side of the assignment page in Classroom. All right, I need to title this Google Classroom quiz. Obviously, you can put instructions in there, and I'll click Assign. All right, and now it does come up here. I don't have it in a topic yet, so I can click Edit here, and I'm going to create a new topic. I'm going to call that topic Silly Quiz because this is obviously a quiz I will never use. Also in topics, if let's say that I really want this under daily questions, I can just drag and drop it down and put it into the next topic, but it does not belong there. All right, so I've got that silly quiz. Now let's say I've already got Google Forms that I created in the past that I want to use now. Instead of clicking on quiz assignment here, I would just click on assignment. And over here in this tab, you can see I've got this vocabulary quiz that I created some time ago. And so now all I will do is in this assignment, I'll put Lesson 1, Part 2. I will click Add, Google Drive. It's going to bring up my recent ones here. Make sure that you're on the quiz that you want. I don't want this blank quiz. Click over here on my drive. Lesson 1, Part 2. There it is. And this is automatically selected because when I created this quiz, I put that locked mode on. All right, and I will click Assign. So that's going to come up here. I'll put that in Silly Quizzes too. Now, once you have students take the quiz, you're going to get feedback in two different places. First of all, in Classroom, and that's kind of ideal because then you don't have to leave Classroom to look at what you've got going there. But you can also go to that form in Drive, pull it up, and you can see the responses I have here. I've got all the student scores here. I've got what they missed, or each of the questions, and how many students got it incorrect, how many got it correct, and what exactly they selected. So this can help you to grade your quiz, so to speak. See how good your quiz is. All right, so let's move on to the next thing on our agenda. Let's see. Rubrics. Let's go to rubrics. So I've got this Chaucer worksheet that I had assigned in the in my previous video. Let's edit that. So what I've got here is I've got the Wife of Bath's Tale PDF, so they can click and read the Wife of Bath. And then I've got this template that it's a Twitter page, right? And they just have to put in pictures and tweets for each of the characters, or for one character rather. They've got to pick a character from the story and make a Twitter page for them. So now I've got to grade this thing. Well, lucky me, I've got rubrics that I can use. So I'm going to click Create Rubric. And then I'm going to fill in all the different criteria that I've got for this rubric. So let's say I don't know, creativity. For this particular assignment, I want them to be creative. Be creative. Obviously, your rubric should have better descriptions than this. And I'm going to say that this is going to be out of 5 points. Awesome. Super creative. Great job. Now I've got another level, and this is going to be the 4-point level. Yeah, you can go negative on points, which I think is kind of weird. Not that bad. Obviously, you want to do a better job of creating your rubric and the descriptions here. Pretty creative. Okay, and then I can add more and more criterion here. But I'm not going to do that. So I've got just this one criterion here, which is a really bad rubric. I'm sure we can all agree that's terrible. I'm going to save that, and then when I go to grade it, I'll have that. When I look at the student submissions on the right-hand side, I'll have that rubric, and I'll just be able to click what they got for each thing. Furthermore, it shows the students that rubric. Now, let's say that I want a rubric that's actually good. I had to create this one just to show you how they're created. Delete. And let's say I've got rubrics that I've created in the past, which I do. So I can click this reuse rubric. I could also click import from sheets. I haven't tried this recently. Maybe they've improved this function. When they first rolled it out, it did not work at all. It just always caused an error. So don't try to import from sheets for now. Instead, I'm going to click reuse rubric. And I've got no rubrics in this class, but if I go to storage, where I store rubrics, I've got this 6-trait writing rubric. I pick that. Now if I click on that, you can see that I've got levels from 6 points all the way down to 1. 6 points because it's the 6 traits, 6 points for each trait, 36 points overall. It's a nice rubric. And I've got this in the storage class that I've got shared with several different teachers. If you'd like to be included in that so that you've got access to this rubric, then I would gladly do that for you. At any rate, you can use rubrics to easily grade. I don't need to tell you how to use a rubric, just how to do it in Classroom. All right. I click Save on that. Let's see. It's a check-in form, easy way to see how participants are doing. So you can do a check-in form a couple of different ways. You could do a quiz like I showed you just a little bit ago by going Create Quiz Assignment, or you could just do Create Question. And I showed this in my other kind of introductory video. I like to do this for a bell ringer, but you can do short answer or multiple choice. This is just a quick, really ungraded sort of, you can grade it. Obviously, there's a points value over here that you can assign, but this is just a small kind of like a bell ringer or exit ticket sort of activity, but it can be really useful for getting quick feedback to students, and quick response from the students and quick response back to the students. All right, I think this video is running a little bit long, so I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there. I'm pretty sure I covered everything that we wanted to cover between this video and the last one. In case you missed it, in the other video I did show how to add teachers to this same classroom. I'm going to add Kylie Lohmeyer. All right, so I've just sent her an invitation. Now she is part of this class, but you know what? I actually don't want that, so I'm going to go ahead and remove her. She might be confused by an email she's about to get. At any rate, you can add teachers to a class so that you can work together on that one particular class. You can add students down here. I covered that before, though. I think we're good to go. So before I start rambling again, I'm going to stop this recording. So see you all later.